Hey, what's up? We just got back from Lone Star Paramotor in Austin where Leandra got to learn how to fly. Super exciting. I'm excited because I get to edit all of this footage and release the first video that I've released in a while. I've been super busy with the Paramotor podcast, so hopefully you guys are listening to that. Today, I want to give back to the patrons who've been helping me fund this entire project by showing them a technique that I use to create a more cinematic paramotor video. Today, we're going to be talking about color grading. And color grading is a way to make your video look more like a movie. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. I'm going to jump on the computer and without further ado, just start narrating and you guys follow along, okay? What I'm going to show you is how to, basically correct the footage that comes out of the camera and then apply a new creative look to it so that people who end up watching your videos, kind of can enjoy it a little more. And plus, it's a lot of fun to be able to jump into the computer and play with it. It takes it from just a paramotoring experience that you filmed to now something you get to play with in a kind of artistic way. And it's a lot of fun, so give it a shot. All right, so I'm going to find somewhere along this timeline. Perfect. Here's a picture of Parker's beautiful mug. And I'm going to take just an image within this and check this out. What we're going to do is we're going to properly expose this image. What do I mean by that? So the brightness levels over here in this window right here, you can see kind of the wavelengths that show how bright and how well exposed the image is. The brightest an image should ever be is that the top of the waves right here go to the 100 mark right there. That's the 100 level mark. And they should never drop below 0. The reason is because whatever the darks are. So here's the darks, here's the highlights. The darks, if they go below 0, that means that you're losing all of the information right here. So basically, there's nothing below it. But what we want to do is take the lowest part of the waves and literally make it touch the 0 line without going past it, right? We don't want to lose the information. And then same thing on the opposite side. With the highlights, we want them to touch 100 without going over it, because then you'll lose the highlights. Let me show you what it looks like if you, let's say, overexpose the image by going over it. So I'm going to come back over here to this is like where I can make the adjustments, the adjustments tab. And over here, you can see it says highlights. I'm going to grab this little knob, and that's going to take whatever is in the upper portion of this here finder, and it's going to stretch it upwards. If I mess with the midtones, it's going to mess with what's in the middle. And if I mess with the shadows, it's going to mess around with the lower half of the wavelengths. All right, so as I said, let's go to the highlights, and I'm going to pull them up, and oh my gosh, there's about 100, but if I go past it, now look at what's happening over here. I'm going to be losing information in the field, even though it's out of focus, right? Because that's a creative technique. We're using depth of field to kind of make it more personal, like we're right there with Parker as he's giving instructions to Leandra. We don't want it to go over 100 because we don't want to lose all that information. And also in his shiny head is going to start to fade into the background. We just want it to touch right there at that 100 level mark. That's a good place to stay. So I'll bring it up just a little bit more. And then from there, I'm going to jump down into the shadows. It looks like the shadows can come down just a hair. So I'm going to go over here to the shadows and literally pull it down just a little bit. Oh, right there. And maybe the midtones can come down a smidgen. There we go. All right, you're looking good there, Parker. All right, so now the image is properly exposed, and it looks like the color balance is correct. What is color balance? Color balance is like, is it too warm or is it too cold? If you film with a setting, with the Kelvin is the scale. If you have a number that's off, it will make the image either look colder than it was, or if it's too high, it'll look warmer than it was. That's not what we want. We want it to look like what it looked like in that moment. Cool? Savvy? Right on. So here's an example of me messing with it. Woo, too high. Woo, too cold. Let's just leave it right about there. So how do we do that? We find something that's white within the image. Something that's white. And then if it's too warm, imagine if the image was too warm, it's going to look a little bit off. It's kind of hard to tell. You can zoom in on the image to kind of like really understand it. But once it looks natural like it did while you were there filming it, you know you're in the right place. So now this is just like an unedited look. We've got Parker, it looks like we were there, but let's say we want to get a little bit creative with the image. What we can do, right, is we can add what's called a LUT. LUT, L-U-T, that stands for lookup table. And that's some sort of mad scientist trick that these fancy schmancy artists use to give it more of like a cinematic, artistic look. So if I just click this and drag it onto the specific clip that I've selected and go up here, now I see it right here, custom LUT, but there hasn't been a LUT selected yet. It says none. What I can do is go in here and apply the same one I've been using across the entire timeline. That way we have some sort of consistency, so whoever's viewing it doesn't go, what just happened? It just looks so different now. Well, that's not what we want. So we want to kind of stick with it, and I've been using this one. Holy smokes, that one's strong. It looks really cool, but I'm going to dial it back just a little bit. For example, let me just show you a couple other ones really quick. There are some black and white LUTs that give it a really cool look, like it's Sin City or something. And then here we have AP for alternative process, and it kind of gives it like, that's one that gives it kind of like a chemical washed, if you ever did photography work in college or high school. It's just giving it a different look. But I've been using this cinematic look called Cancer. Yeah, that one. So I'm going to go with that. The other thing that you can do is you can dial it back. You know, you don't want it to be so jarring that your viewers are like, that just looks too fake. So I'm going to dial it on back, right? We can find a balance, and I've been sticking with 0.6, 60% of the LUT. So right there, cool. So now if we play it back, right? I'm going to play it back for you. And you can kind of see, here's a little sneak peek of Leandra's training experience. Ready for it? Ready for it? Here we go. All right. Yeah, Parker's looking all good there, all cinematic. Ooh, look at that string. Cool. Oh, didn't silence all of them. But if we go over here, we can jump back into where the footage is being edited. It's really kind of neat. I personally enjoy doing this. I know a lot of people who comment on the videos are noticing maybe these color grades. So, you know, next time you guys film a paramotor video, watch a YouTube video on all the different types of color grades you can get, these presets. It's not as easy as clicking, dragging, and dropping. You do have to correct the image first, but I promise you the end result is fantastic and it makes it awesome. I know I will definitely be watching that video once you post it. Anywho's, can't wait to share the video with you guys once it's all said and done. And as always, thank you very much for being a patron, and I'll look forward to catching you guys in the next one. Bye.